Well, prior to her passing, Queen Elizabeth had been unwell for an extensive period of time. The monarch was largely absent from public life after spraining her back in October last year and then was ill following that COVID diagnosis that followed.
Many people are shocked because they saw pictures of the Queen smiling as she met with the UK Prime Minister's replacement Liz Truss just 2 days before her death. So how did it all happen so quickly? Let's bring in Sunrise GP Ginny Mansberg this morning. Ginny, can you just explain potentially what happened here?
Look, we don't know, but she was 96. The average person in the UK, falls off their perch at 82. And so she had an amazingly good innings. I mean, we can say that, the number one killer of women is actually dementia. Well, clearly she didn't have that. Heart disease and stroke are the next two. She could have had a stroke, she could have had a heart attack, but she had a good life. And oh my goodness, I want to be in a high-level meeting 2 days before I drop off this beautiful place. I think she's done amazingly well. And I guess it doesn't really matter because she had an amazing time and didn't suffer from a long time from what it looks like.
Talk us through, Ginny, if you could, I guess the deterioration that we saw from a public perspective anyway in the last year of Queen Elizabeth's life.
Yeah, so we could see that she was getting frailer. She was losing some weight. She was walking with a stick. Interestingly, she stuck to a walking stick, and it was an interesting walking stick too, wasn't it? She wasn't, on a frame. She wasn't in a wheelchair. Isn't she everything that every single one of us wants to be as we get older? With all of our marbles, able to have meetings, able to walk around, with a stick. But she looked amazing. And 90-year-olds get frailer as they get older. They don't eat as much. But to have all of your marbles, to be able to perform work duty. She was still working until she was 96. Amazing.
From a medical perspective, Ginny, I mean, if you are unwell and you are suffering from, the lingering effects of COVID and exhaustion, we mere mortals can only imagine the toll it would take to have to keep up those public appearances too.
Absolutely. We know that as you get older, you are frailer, you don't have as much muscle strength, you don't have as much energy. Doing the sorts of duties that she had to perform would be taxing on a lot of us. It would certainly be taxing for a 70-year-old like our new king, a 73-year-old as he comes onto the throne. That's a really big day's work. She was doing it into her 90s. It's just simply not easy. And we know that if she's not sleeping that well, if she's not eating that well, all of that just gets a lot worse.
And, I mean, it really does speak, that image of her signing in the new Prime Minister, Liz Truss, to her stoicism. As we know, she wasn't in full health in the last year, particularly after the passing of her husband, which would have had an enormous impact on her mentally and physically. But it really speaks volumes how stoic she was, that we still saw her mobile even at the few engagements we did see her at.
Yeah, I agree. And Sal, you mentioned something really important. She lost her husband of so many years, and statistically, the number of partners who die within 12 months of losing a partner, that is a very high risk time. And we don't really know why, but we think that grief puts additional strain on the body. And it's really hard to lose somebody to whom you've been married for that long, on top of everything else, on top of being in your mid-90s.
And being the glue that keeps the royal family together after, throughout a tough few years. Ginny, thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Thanks, guys.